Have you ever had a moment where you looked around and thought, it's really just me now? Maybe it was after a quiet holiday dinner. Or when you were waiting on a call that never came. Maybe it hit you in the middle of the night. When something didn't feel right in your body and you realized you couldn't just knock on a loved one's door for help anymore. That moment. It's tough. It feels like someone pulled the rug out from under you. You spend your whole life showing up for your kids, supporting your family, being the dependable one, and then slowly, it flips. Suddenly they're busy with their own lives, their own challenges, and you're left asking, so who's there for me now? If that hits home for you, I want to tell you something. You are not alone, and more importantly, you are not powerless. The truth is, yes, our families matter. Of course they do. But if you've lived long enough, you know by now, love doesn't always mean availability. And depending on your kids, or even your partner, to be your only support system, that's not just risky, it's unfair to them. And honestly, it's unfair to you. This isn't about bitterness. This is about building strength. Real, quiet strength, from the inside out. You don't need to rely on people who may or may not show up. You can build something even stronger. Something that sticks with you through every season, every change, every high and low. That's what we're going to talk about today. 5 powerful pillars of support that are stronger than your kids, your siblings, or even your friends. Because while people may come and go, these are the things that stay. And if you build them into your life, yes, even starting today, you'll not only feel more secure, you'll feel proud of the life you're living. Not just surviving, but thriving. Let's start with something you've probably already had to lean on more than once. 1. Emotional resilience. You know, most people think that as you get older, life gets easier, fewer responsibilities, more time, a slower pace. But what they don't see are the quiet losses. Friends passing, health shifting, your name falling off the invite list. The silence after the kids leave. After the grandkids stop visiting so often. It's subtle, but it wears on you. That's why emotional resilience isn't just helpful. It's essential. I'm not talking about pretending to be okay or putting on a brave face. I'm talking about the kind of inner strength that lets you say, yes, this hurts, but I can handle it. It's the voice inside that whispers, you've made it through worse. Let me tell you about someone I admire. Her name's Margaret. She's 77, lives alone now, lost her husband 5 years ago. I asked her once how she gets through the days that feel especially quiet. She said, every night before bed, I light a candle, not because I'm religious, but because it reminds me I'm still here. Some nights she cries, some nights she smiles, but every night she honors her presence, her survival. That's emotional resilience, not avoiding pain, but walking through it without losing yourself. You don't get that kind of strength from your kids. You build it, day by day, through journaling, through simple rituals, through choosing not to let disappointment turn into bitterness. And once you've built it, no one can take it from you. That's support you carry in your chest, in your bones. And believe me, it's powerful. 2. Financial clarity. Now, while we're talking about things that give you peace of mind, let's talk about another one, your finances. And no, I'm not going to talk about getting rich. You don't need a stock portfolio or 3 houses to feel secure. What you do need is clarity, simplicity, a financial setup that doesn't give you anxiety when the bills arrive. I know a woman named Susan. She's 74, widowed, used to work as a librarian. After her husband passed, she realized their finances were more complicated than they needed to be. Multiple accounts, subscriptions they didn't even use, and credit card bills that gave her heart palpitations. So you know what she did? She downsized, moved into a smaller place, closed all but one credit card, canceled every auto-renew she didn't use. She told me, I used to be afraid of the mailbox. Now I open every envelope with a clear head and a calm heart. You don't have to make big changes all at once. But start asking yourself, am I spending more than I need to? Do I understand where my money's going? Could I explain it to a friend in 5 minutes? When your finances are simple, you sleep better, you make decisions with confidence. And best of all, you don't need to rely on your kids to explain things or bail you out. You're the captain of your own ship, even if it's a modest one. That's a kind of freedom no one talks about. But it's life-changing. 3. A personal code. So far, we've talked about the heart and the wallet. But there's another form of strength that's a little quieter, a little more internal, but just as important. I'm talking about having a personal code, a set of values that grounds you no matter what changes around you. Here's something I've seen over and over again. When people reach their 70s or 80s, many of them feel lost, not because they're forgetful, but because the roles they built their lives around, being a parent, a spouse, a worker, they start to fade. And without those titles, they're left wondering, who am I now? That's why a personal code matters. It's your compass when everything else feels uncertain. Let me introduce you to Charles. He's in his early 80s now. And he told me once, I live by 5 rules. I speak the truth. I don't waste food. I return what I borrow. I forgive fast. And I sleep with a clear conscience. That's it. Nothing fancy. But every decision he makes runs through that code. And let me tell you, he walks with a peace that's hard to describe. It's the peace of someone who knows who he is. When you live by your own values, something amazing happens. You stop needing validation. You stop feeling shaken when others disagree. Because you're no longer trying to fit anyone else's mold. You're just living honestly, intentionally, and in line with your own soul. That kind of clarity? It keeps your mind sharp, your heart steady, and your days full of quiet purpose, even if no one else sees it. 4. A health routine. There's something powerful about waking up each day with a sense of purpose. Not for someone else, not to drop the grandkids off, not to make a meal for someone else, but for you, because you matter, and the small things you do, just for yourself, are often the biggest things of all. One of those powerful things? Your health routine. Now, before your mind jumps to gym memberships or green smoothies, take a breath. That's not what we're talking about here. A health routine doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. In fact, the simpler it is, the more likely you are to stick with it. What it really comes down to is consistency. I once knew a man named Joe, 81 years old, who used to be an electrician. Every morning, without fail, Joe made himself a cup of green tea, did 15 minutes of light stretches from a chair, took his morning meds, and then walked around the block, rain or shine. When I asked him why he kept up that routine so religiously, he said, because it reminds me that I still matter. You see, it's not about checking a box or chasing perfection. It's about showing up for yourself. Every single day, even when no one else is watching. Even when your knees hurt. Even when you didn't sleep great the night before. Because the act of caring for your own body, that sends a powerful message to your spirit. I'm still here. I'm still in motion. You don't need to go hard. You just need to go steady. A little movement, some hydration, fueling your body with food that nourishes instead of just fills. These things build strength in places you can't see. They reduce falls. They help your memory. They improve your sleep, but most importantly, they give you back a sense of control. And when your daily health routine becomes a habit, it frees up mental space. You don't have to ask, should I go for a walk today? Or, did I take my pills? You just do it. That rhythm becomes your anchor, your safety net, your quiet structure in a world that sometimes feels chaotic. And you know what's beautiful? On the days you feel low, that routine carries you. It doesn't ask how you feel. It just reminds you who you are. A person who takes care of themselves. 5. Physical mobility. Now let's talk about something else that ties right into that. Your ability to move freely. You might not think of physical mobility as a form of emotional support. But let me tell you, it absolutely is. Because being able to get out of bed, walk to the kitchen, and reach for your favorite mug without assistance. That's not just movement. That's freedom. That's independence. That's dignity. You don't have to run marathons or lift weights to be strong. Strength looks different at this stage of life. It looks like steady balance. Like strong legs. Like the confidence to walk across a parking lot without worrying about tripping. It looks like saying yes to a lunch invite because you know you can make it from the car to the booth without struggling. There's a man named Walter, 78, who walks laps around his local park every morning with a cane. I asked him once why he does it so faithfully. He smiled and said, "Because the moment I stop moving is the moment I start waiting. And I don't want to wait. I want to live." That stuck with me. Walter doesn't walk because it's easy. He walks because it's his. It's something he controls. And when so much of life after 70 feels like it's out of your hands, health, family, energy, your ability to move becomes this small, sacred act of independence. And let's be real, mobility isn't just physical, it's emotional, too. When you move freely, you think more freely. You're more likely to leave the house, accept invitations, and say yes to life. But when your body starts to slow down and you stop trusting it, fear creeps in, and with fear comes isolation. The good news is you can fight back. Even if you feel stiff or weak right now, it's not too late. Start small, stretch while your coffee brews. Walk a few extra steps in the hallway. Use light resistance bands while watching TV. Your body doesn't need perfect. It just needs movement, and the more you move, the more your body learns that it can. When your legs are strong, you don't have to wait for someone to take you to an appointment. When your balance is steady, you don't have to ask for help getting out of the car. You're not just building muscle, you're building confidence. And confidence is one of the most overlooked medicines out there. Because the truth is, when you invest in your body, even a little bit, it invests right back in you. Every step, every stretch, every glass of water is a vote for your independence. And that's something no one can take from you. In conclusion, I know, aging comes with aches and limitations. That's just part of it. But every bit of strength you can hold on to, or better yet, build, is worth the effort. It's not about vanity. It's not about looking younger. It's about living better, on your terms. You don't need your kids to come over and open jars or walk you to the mailbox. You can reclaim that power. Slowly, steadily, safely, but you can. And here's the beautiful truth most people miss. When you take care of yourself, emotionally, financially, physically, you actually become less dependent on others. Not because you don't deserve help, but because you've built a life that doesn't fall apart when no one's around. And isn't that what we all want? To feel steady, capable, grounded. You don't have to do it all at once. But every day, you can make one small decision to strengthen your foundation. Whether it's a walk around the block, checking your bank statements, lighting a candle, or simply taking a deep breath and reminding yourself you are enough. You don't need to wait for someone to call or stop by to feel supported. You've got support within you already. We're just naming it, honoring it, strengthening it. It's a quiet kind of power, isn't it? Knowing that you've built a life that doesn't lean too heavily on anyone else. Not because you've closed yourself off, but because you've opened yourself up to something deeper. A kind of strength that isn't loud, but unshakable. And as we bring everything together, I want to remind you of something important. This is your life, your chapter, and no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, you still have more control than you think. You still have choices, and those choices shape the quality of your days. You've learned to face disappointment without crumbling. You've simplified your finances so they don't control you. You've grounded yourself in a set of values that no one else needs to approve of. You've kept your body moving and your health in focus. That's not just surviving, that's building a foundation. And the truth is, you've been doing the hard work all along. But just in case you've forgotten how far you've come, let's pause for a second and look at where you are now. You've weathered heartache, probably more than once. You've had your patience stretched, your loyalty tested, your energy drained, and yet, you're still here, breathing, standing, listening, learning. That's not just aging. That's strength in its most honest form. The older we get, the more life strips away the noise. And what's left behind is the essence of who we really are. It's in those quiet moments, when the phone doesn't ring, when the room feels still, that you begin to hear the truth. The people you thought would always be there sometimes drift. Sometimes they just can't show up the way you hoped. And that hurts. But it doesn't have to break you. Because somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, you started showing up for yourself. Maybe you didn't call it that. Maybe you just thought you were being practical or getting by. But every time you took your meds without needing a reminder, every time you paid your bills on time, every time you picked yourself up after a hard day, you were being your own support system. And that's the heart of it. Really. These 5 pillars we've talked about, they aren't magical. They don't require youth or wealth or anyone else's permission. They just require intention, small decisions, quiet commitment. And here's the beautiful part. When you build this kind of life, you become a light for others. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because peace is contagious. Strength is magnetic. People feel it when someone walks into a room fully grounded in themselves. You might be the person someone else quietly looks up to. Someone who shows it's possible to grow older without growing bitter. Someone who proves that a life of value doesn't end when the kids stop calling. Or the invitations stop coming. It just shifts. It becomes deeper, more meaningful. And I want you to hear this clearly. You are not invisible, not irrelevant, not forgotten. The world may move fast. People may be distracted. But your presence, your wisdom, your spirit, it still matters. You matter. If no one's told you that in a while, let me say it now. Loud and clear. You matter. And yes, this stage of life brings its challenges. We all know that. There are days when your body doesn't cooperate. When the silence in the house feels a little too loud. When the loneliness creeps in and stays a little too long. But the answer isn't to wait for someone else to fix it. The answer is to return to the foundation you've built. Take a deep breath, stretch your legs, open that window and let the morning air hit your face. Light the candle, write the journal entry, make the tea, keep the rhythm going. And if you're sitting there thinking, it's too late for me, I should have started this years ago. Let me stop you right there. You're not too late. You're right on time. There's no clock on building strength. You don't have to overhaul your life. Just start where you are. One deep breath, one mindful choice, one moment of stillness where you remind yourself, I can do this, because you can. And if this video has resonated with you, if something in your heart stirred, or you saw yourself in the stories we've shared, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, just one sentence about what part stood out to you most. Or share a moment in your life where you realized you were stronger than you gave yourself credit for. Your words matter. They may even inspire someone else who's watching this video right now. Quietly searching for a reason to keep going. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps more people find this message. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment of encouragement. This channel, Strong Elderly Life, is here for you, week after week, step by step. We believe that life after 60 isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your freedom. And you deserve to walk into this chapter with your head held high, knowing you are more than enough just as you are. Here's to the strength you've built, the support you carry within, and the incredible life still ahead of you. Stay strong, stay kind to yourself, and as always, here's to living your best life at any age.